Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Fusion of Honor, where we break down everything that happens in a Ring of Honor ring and MLW Fusion. Now, there is some interesting news that we have to get to. We took a delay of a week. We were trying to compose our thoughts, trying to compose our feelings, trying to see what this news meant for us. But here we are back again because we couldn't leave you guys hanging for that long. And of course, if I'm going to break down this eventful news, I can't do it by myself. Even though you guys saw that Romeo report that I was on with Sid, you saw Ness and I on True Heel Heat, so you got a taste of this news and a taste of what our thoughts are. But I can't break any of that down without my tag team partner, and he is, of course, the three-time baby-making champ. This is Ness. Sir, how you feeling today?
I usually say I'm feeling mighty fine, and with the news we're about to cover, I can't say that I feel mighty fine. It's kind of saddening, kind of it hits me in the feels, and then as we're gonna talk about it, you guys will see why exactly it'll hit me in the feels.
That is true. I agree with you 100% there. The news, of course, if you've been living under a rock now, because we are actually doing this a little bit later than when the news broke, is that Ring of Honor, after Final Battle this year, is going to be going on a 3-month hiatus, and they will be returning in April for Supercard of Honor. But they will be returning with some new faces, maybe some old ones. We don't know. We don't really know anything at this point because Sinclair Broadcasting Group, through Ring of Honor, has announced that they are releasing all Ring of Honor talent from their contract, those that will go into effect January 1st of 2022. There are some people who are under contract to the end of March. They will be paid out until the end of March, but they are allowing everybody to do independent bookings. And if you want to do a booking on, say, Impact or AEW or one of those, or even MLW, they are taking that into consideration, and it's kind of a case-by-case basis. So maybe that gives us some indication that they are interested in keeping certain people, because depending on who is asking, that's how they'll determine who gets to go where. But this is definitely a end of an era for Ring of Honor. And it's kind of funny because, especially in the context of Fusion of Honor, because we had months where we were waiting for MLW to come back.
And we gave so much shit. We gave so much shit to MLW.
And Ring of Honor was holding us down. We at least were having, empty arena matches, empty venue matches, but we were having something from Ring of Honor. They were doing some really great work. There were some great matches that were happening, and not only that, they were producing the weekly show. They were doing the week by week on YouTube. They were doing the Women of Honor Wednesdays. They did this entire women's division tournament in front of nobody except for the finals with Roxy and Miranda Alizé. So to now turn around and have the shoe on the other foot, well, I guess now we're gonna have to give Ring of Honor a lot of shit. But that's nothing new. That's nothing new, because Sinclair Broadcasting Group has kind of mishandled and botched their management of Ring of Honor for some time. So I really hope that we get to see a lot of these guys and girls in other companies. And I really feel bad for some of them who signed deals relatively recently, because that is pretty bad. That's pretty not as bad as releasing NXT talent when they only have a 30-day non-compete, so they're not going to get paid through like Christmas. And some of them have families, so they got to figure out how they're going to provide for their families over Thanksgiving and then holiday shopping and all that kind of stuff. But at least Ring of Honor said, "Hey, this is a great point actually. Ring of Honor is $12.5 million in debt. Sinclair Broadcasting Group is $9 billion in debt, and they still said they were going to pay out everybody's contract. They were going to make sure that everybody was taken care of, and that they were going to do right by their people. Meanwhile, down in Orlando, by way of Stamford, Connecticut, they basically said, "Fuck you, get out of our building." And if you need to, we have plenty of trash bags. Mickey James knows all about trash bags, so we have plenty of trash bags for you to get your stuff and get out on your way. So I really hope that we do see a lot of these guys and gals popping up in different promotions. There's a lot of different promotions. There's a lot of independents now. This is a great time for independent wrestling.
Yeah.
Warrior Wrestling already has booked for in December. They've booked some of the NXT people who've been released, but they've also booked people like Brody King. Brody King's going to be at that Warrior Wrestling show. So there are opportunities out there if they know how to survive, how to thrive. And it may be a little difficult for some of the older ROH talent because they've just been so used to the ROH system, meaning like they know like, hey, we're going to be here for 2 weeks, whatever, filming, then we're going to be off for a couple months. If I want to take a booking, I can. If I don't want to, I don't have to. Now it changes a little bit. Somebody like Chelsea Green just lost a promotion, but it's all right because I forget who it was, but I think it was Sid who said he just wants somebody to love him the way that second and third rate promotions love Chelsea Green. She loses Ring of Honor, but she still has Impact, GCW, She could probably show up at MLW. Like, you know, Women of Wrestling now exists. She could pop up there. Like, she'll be okay.
That's a whole nother fucking story to talk about. It's done. Oh my god.
But really interesting is that I think a lot of blame for this can be laid at the feet of one person. Because this person was supposed to revolutionize Ring of Honor by bringing back the women's division. Yes, I'm talking about Maria Kanellis Bennett. You're goddamn right.
I fucking knew it.
Goddamn right. No, she was on Renee's podcast. And I don't know if she's keeping kayfabe or not. I don't know if it's a work, if it's a shoot. But either way, let's assume for a moment what she says is 100% true. She said that Ring of Honor, part of why they brought her back was to put her in charge of the women's division. So that means she actually is in charge of the women's division. And all of our jokes have actually been true.
Yeah.
So
in
Ness,
hindsight.
So Ness, how do you feel about this news, and is there anybody in particular that you would like to see show up in a different promotion? Shane Taylor Promotions, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Honestly, I don't want to use the term hurt or anything like that, but it does hurt, honestly, because outside of the mainstream of wrestling that is, you know, WWE that I barely watch, outside of NXT, that I really don't even want to watch that. And you know, AEW, which I love, there's always the niche promotions like you know, the MLWs that we cover, the Ring of Honors, the Impact, the promotions that were bigger back in the day, but pretty much went to the wayside. I don't even want to say that. That's a bad phrase to use, but just aren't mainstream as a WWE or AEW. And that's where Ring of Honor, Impact, MLW come in, and or even GCW and even New Japan at that point. But you know, with them being out of the country and the travel restrictions and everything going on with that, it sucks seeing that, you know, this happened to Ring of Honor. I'm one of the few, like literally one of the few people that are looking at this from a positive standpoint, because pretty much the writing's there on the wall. You know, like they're saying, oh, we're taking a 3 or 4 month hiatus, we'll be back. And we're just like, okay, if you say so, because it's like you just let all your talent go. Luckily, you guys are still paying them, which is good. You're allowing them to take bookings, you know. The whole I don't really want to call it a non-compete because the shows are still airing. So right. It'll be fucked up if they're still airing all these tapings and somebody pops up on, you know, a Dynamite or or an Impact episode. So I mean, outside of Chelsea Green, who does both. But again, whatever. But yeah, it sucks. And the reason why it sucks is because there was just another round of cuts from WWE recently, like another round of fucking cuts. And again, in AEW, as much as I would love to see them snatch up a handful of these guys from Ring of Honor and WWE, they can't. It's just like it's not possible. Financially, it just isn't possible. Or maybe the people that want to go, they possibly can't because they can't get everybody. And if they couldn't go to AEW or Impact, there was a chance for them to come to ROH. And I would have loved that. I would have loved to see maybe a Keith Lee back in ROH. Maybe I would have had some interest in a Karrion Kross in ROH. I really didn't have any of him in NXT. I sure as hell didn't have any for him on fucking Monday Night Raw or anything like that. But it was or Blake Christian. I know he's gonna get his bookings. He's gonna get his bookings. You've already shared with me that he's going to be in GCW in I believe November, December. So
Warrior in December as well.
Yeah, December. So he knows what to do. He's been around. He wasn't even in WWE NXT for 6 months. I don't even think it was that long. But so now it's just like, all right, if Ring of Honor was here, then weren't in this situation, guys could have had another opportunity to come. Even if they didn't sign full contracts or extensions, things like that, they could have worked. They could have worked dates. It just would have been something for them to do. So now it just seems like the only options are possibly either you can get the opportunity with AEW, which should be at the height of most of their lists, or you can work the independents or or possibly get in Impact. I would love for that to happen as well. Get Impact, MLW again. MLW at this point, you guys need a 2-hour show now. You gotta boost this up. Yeah, I don't know what their budget is, and I hope it.
Ness will sit there for the TV tapings.
Yeah, I will. Trust me, I've done it. I've done it plenty of times. So,
that brings up some MLW news where some people in MLW have been released, and part of the reason why was because MLW said we're not able to use all these people, and we're not able to use them properly, and it's not fair to them that they should be handcuffed by these deals. It would be better if they were, free. And if some other company thinks that they can use them properly, let them use them. And some of the people that have been released are people we're going to be talking about during this episode. So it's just an interesting comparison between who is treated well and who is not treated well. I mean, a great tweet that I saw was from MLW wrestler Slice Boogie, where he said, "Is WWE the end all be all? Is that where we should be looking to be? That we know we've made it if we are there." And this isn't a WWE bashing podcast, because what we're the way to look at this is Ring of Honor was, for a very long time, considered the pinnacle of independent wrestling, of the alternative to mainstream WWE. If you were in Ring of Honor, it meant you were really damn good, because that's where WWE rated to get people and put them on a platform that was much larger. Consistently. The Danielsons, the Punks, the Tyler Blacks, the Samoa Joes, the people that the Ring of Honor people name when they're cutting the promos. Ring of Honor was that for a very long time, and now to see that to see that shift, to see that change is pretty incredible. So for somebody like Jordan Oliver, who was one of the big names released by MLW, he would be great in an X Division match. He would be great in AEW. I would like seeing him in New Japan Strong. But to your point, it's not as though now he can go to Ring of Honor. And that's kind of where we're at. So it is a kind of a bittersweet moment because of what we knew Ring of Honor was and what it's now turning into, which when they come back for Supercard of Honor, the idea is that they're going to try to run it a little bit more like a true indie. And so they're not going to be having as many people under direct contracts. They're more going to be bringing people in for dates, just for TV tape, things like that. And that's difficult to write concrete stories.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Ring of Honor is going to suffer. Because one thing's for sure. The news made all those spinning plates crash. Because I don't know what's going to happen after Final Battle. I really don't. But I know that bringing people in for short-term dates and short-term contracts and things like that means that if you try to rebuild the spinning plates, it's that much harder. And hopefully they're able to pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, it does, like, and it's just you say, if they're bringing people in for short-term contracts, short-term dates, so that means it's going to be short-term storytelling. Right. And just from something that we see or something that you hear, because you don't watch it, just with that WWE shit, like, it's always the short term, and people are always like, oh, we got to wait for it to play out. And I've been told that so many fucking times, like, you guys got to be patient. You don't wait, because there's a pattern here. Things clearly always keep going the same way. And people are just, no, you got to wait. You got to see where it goes. You guys just want instant gratification. So I'm like, all right, we'll do it your way. And then when the story cultivates, and it's just as shitty as it was at the end when it was at the beginning, we're all sitting around looking like, I told you so. And then those people are like, oh, you just want to hate on WWE. No, you just got to. I know we're not officially a WWE hating podcast, but I'm going to do that shit. I'm going to do it. Another reason is people are trying to compare Ring of Honor, taking their hiatus and and letting their talent go, to WWE cutting all these people. And I'm like, bro, bro. It's ridiculous. Where's this energy for Ring of Honor? What do you mean, where's this energy? You mean that they're this company that's like $12.5 billion in debt that are still paying these people through the fucking pandemic when they weren't even running shows? Yeah. That didn't release people during the pandemic and didn't have no way to make money off of independent shows or anything like that? That Ring of Honor? This compared to WWE, who loves to talk about all these record profits that they keep bringing in quarterly.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the greatest. That's the greatest. Sinclair in their statement was saying, "Hey, we tried our best. We did this, that, and the other thing." And their actual legal financial reporting reinforces that. They're not talking out of their ass. They are $12.5 million in debt, and then the larger company is $9 billion in debt. Whereas the same day that WWE is doing their releases, they're doing record revenue, yet they're telling those people it's budget cuts. One of these things is not like the other
at all. Not whatsoever. But I don't know, man. It's just, I try not to be one of those jaded fans, but they just do shit, and it pisses me off. Like, I can't blame WWE for what's going on with Ring of Honor. Like, again, those two things have nothing to do with each other. But it's just like, I'm upset because something that I'm a huge fan of, to their credit, it's whatever's going on with Sinclair Broadcasting. That's their situation. But as much as I don't watch or pay attention to the main roster of WWE and the NXT 2.0, how much I hate that shit. It's like those guys had a chance to do something and never got off the ground.
Yeah.
Like, and I honestly don't get it. I'm not a business major. I don't know how budget cuts work or anything like that. Maybe that is what they're supposed to be doing. Who knows? I heard that WWE might be in some type of debt. I doubt it, but who knows? I don't know.
Well, most companies are in some form of debt always, because usually, like, the idea is, you got to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
Right? But at the same time, is it smarter to spend your money or spend somebody else's money? Right. So what companies are doing is they're borrowing money from somebody else, a bank, whoever, and they are spending that to increase the amount of money that they make, with the idea being that with all that extra money that they're making, they're going to be able to pay off the debt. So most companies are in some form of debt, which is why with this, when you're announcing that you're making record revenues, it means that you're able to pay the interest rates and pay what you need to pay on the debt. You don't need to cut these people. No. Because unless the way that you're saying that you're having these record revenues is through the budget cuts. But these NXT, I mean, they released what, I think 20 people? These NXT contracts are not that expensive.
Yeah, they're shit compared. Well, I'm not gonna say they're shit, but they're shit compared to the main roster money.
Of course, like if they were telling me, hey, we have record revenues this quarter of $250 million, but we also cut Seth Rollins, I'd be like, all right, yeah, because Seth Rollins makes like $2 million a year. Yeah. That's his base salary plus whatever he makes from his cut of merchandise. So I could maybe see if Seth is no longer selling merchandise, why carry the $2 million fee of having him on the roster? But most of these NXT contracts are like 60 to 80 grand a year, which is still a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, across 20 people, that's $1.6 million if it's 80 grand each. Yeah. So you're not saving that much money if you're going to tell me that you're going to have these record revenues. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation, but we got to get to what we're actually here for, and that.
Sorry, guys, we just went off on a tangent.
And that is talking about why Cesar Duran has this hot sauce on his desk. I was trying to figure that out when the episode was happening. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, if this is product placement, it is just very random. Yeah. It's very random. But the last week's episode starts off with Cesar Duran in his office. He is holding the National Openweight Championship. He is talking about how people will kill for this title. And when people will kill for a title, that's good television. And he's got a point. It is good television. And so he's deciding how exactly he is going to determine who will be our new National Openweight Champion. And he's thinking of having a ladder match at Fusion on Thanksgiving. But before he can really get into the details about that, we see King Muertes show up. And Muertes is talking to Cesar Duran. And Duran's like, hey, you got that Caribbean title match with Holiday, and you won. Congratulations. And Muertes says, yeah, but you got to hold up your end of the bargain. And of course, what is that talking about? We're getting more into our Lucha Underground roots with this Azteca Underground. We're getting more of these interesting, complicated, supernatural storylines just in time for Halloween. And Cesar Duran gives King Muertes a box. And I wish I grabbed the Brad Pitt from Seven. What's in the box? But I did not, unfortunately. But what is in the box? That is the question. Because when Muertes opens it, there's some kind of shining gold, some kind of shining light coming out of it. It's kind of like an Undertaker's urn back in the day. But Duran reminds Muertes there needs to be a sacrifice. And that's going to be an interesting tease for not this week, but next week. But this week, we still need to talk about our matches. And starting us off is none other than Lee Moriarty taking on Bobby Fish in an opening round match of the Opera Cup. My goodness. This was a really, really good match. And it's actually topical for us to talk about this because of what we were just talking about. Before the match starts, Lee Moriarty is cutting a promo on how when he first came to MLW, he represented himself, but now he's also signed to AEW, so he is representing AEW, and they're talking about that on air, and the commentators will talk about that. And when we were just talking about people showing up in different companies, Moriarty points out he doesn't just represent himself, he now represents AEW, and if he can bring that Opera Cup trophy to AEW, that will be something incredible. And it's actually interesting because in a way, both of these men are now either signed or heavily affiliated.
Moriarty officially, Bobby Fish unofficially at the time.
And let's not forget, just this would be hilarious. Kyle O'Reilly's contract is up in December. What if we get Undisputed Era versus the Elite? Because Adam Cole tries to shoot his shot to take control of the group. The Bucks still side with Kenny. And then all of a sudden we have See, it's still on topic because MLW's Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly backing him up. But in order to do that, Bobby Fish needs to keep his name in the business, so to speak. And that means he's got to win this match. And he's got to put Lee Moriarty through the ringer. Yeah. Is Bobby Fish's kickboxing going to match up against Tiger Style? The answer is that, at least for this week, it does. Because Bobby Fish defeats Lee Moriarty to advance in the Opera Cup. I thought this was a really, really good match and made me look forward even more to TJP versus Alex Shelley at our main event, because I was like, if this is how they're starting the episode, this is how we are starting some of these Opera Cup matches, this is going to be a great tournament. And we love tournaments here. Fusion of Honor.
Got a couple of them.
Ness, what'd you think about this one?
This was a great match. It was a great opening for the show. Very technical. I don't know why I don't want to say doubt, but I just forget how technical that Lee Moriarty really is, and it just slips my mind. But then when I see him work, it's just always great to see, and it was nice to see him up against Bobby Fish, who at the time was just bouncing back from all the his NXT run and being let go. So it was great to finally see him in the ring again. These guys put on a hell of a match. It was very great. And for it being in the Opera Cup, it was very telling that one of these guys really want to win, Again, it is kind of funny that Lee Moriarty saying, hey, I don't just represent myself. I gotta, win it for AEW. Then he loses. But he loses to another guy that is contracted to AEW now. So it's a win. It's still a win-win.
It's really funny because we were talking about how after the news broke that Lee Moriarty signed to AEW, we were like, oh, now Lee's going to start taking all the pins and everything. But then AEW was like, Bobby Fish, we got Bobby Fish too. So here's what we're saying to you, MLW.
Still works out for the best either way.
Tony Khan winning no matter what. Yeah. After this match, we have some people catching up with EJ and Duca wearing the same damn shirt as last time. Please change the shirt. The shirt needs a break. It needs a rest. But they're asking him about War Chamber, and he says that he is more than happy to help out with War Chamber, considering all the problems he has had with Contra Unit in the past, which are exactly zero. And he says that maybe if they do well in War Chamber, putting down Contra Unit, he will, be able to get a title shot against Hammerstone. He'll say, hey, I did you a solid in War Chamber. Do me a solid and give me a title match. And Hammerstone will probably have to say yes. So that's a smart move on behalf of EJ and Duca. Another group of people having some smart moves is Alex Kane and King Mo. Yeah. Because last week they were asking Calvin Tankman if he would join America's Top Team, if he would want to be associated with them. And Heavyweight Hustle was kind of like, no. Yeah. And so this week they said, what if we ask you again, but we also beat the shit out of you when you say no? Well, that helped change your mind. But it's actually, in a weird way, a smart move, because if Calvin Tankman is removed from the Opera Cup, his alternate must be in there. And who is his alternate? None other than Alex Kane. So, Ness, I got to ask you, EJ and Duca in War Chamber, are you looking forward to that? And what do you think about this this Alex Kane kind of heel storyline? Because one, it reminds me in general of Team Taz, and also Alex Kane as a character, he reminds me of like a refined Powerhouse Hobbs, meaning Hobbs is just supposed to be this beast of a guy, whereas Kane is supposed to be a beast of a guy, but also have that technical suplex aspect to it as well. Hobbs doesn't necessarily have a signature series of moves, but overall, Hay and King Mo together just kind of reminds me of Team Taz. I wanted to get your thoughts on both of these segments.
EJ and Duca, he has a great look to him. This guy is a fucking behemoth. He can definitely work. Again, I don't know the history between him and Contra Unit that much. No, it's really not. It really isn't.
He got into, I think he got to one backstage brawl with them. He's like, I'm the Contra Unit hunter. He's like, Frankie Kazarian, to work for him, not really, but it's gonna work for me.
Yeah, he's jumping out the window, I gotta get rid of all these guys now. But I like it, because it's how many guys on the roster for MLW do you seriously think can match up against the rest of Contra Unit? And it's not a lot, honestly, outside of the Alexander Hammerstone and EJ and Duca. There's really not a lot of guys that look like they can stand a chance of the whole Contra Unit. So he's definitely one of them. Yeah. So I want to see what he can do in the War Chamber. But yeah, Alex Kane, I quickly became a fan of him. I'm not too keen on King Mo. I think he's all right. The act is cool, but I like Alex Kane a lot. The suplex assassin. He can go out there, and he reminds me of, I don't want to call him Brock Lesnar, because there's no comparison on that. It's just the suplex thing, the suplex gimmick. And he does more than just German suplexes. He does the overhead suplex, the belly-to-belly suplex, the back suplex, just an arsenal of suplexes that goes with his namesake, the suplex assassin. Yeah. But the fact that I like the comparison of the Powerhouse Hobbs and Taz, I think that King Mo gets a little bit more heat than Taz, because it's Taz. You know Taz's history. You're going to respect it regardless of him. You might boo him because he's the quote unquote heel, but people are really booing King Mo because they don't like King Mo. So I get that aspect of it, and I think that works a little bit better. But yeah, I get the comparison, and I think it is it's very good comparison. But just like you said, that Alex Kane is just a little bit more polished as far as in ring than Powerhouse Hobbs. He definitely has more of a arsenal of moves and the move set. Again, going back to him being the suplex assassin, and he doesn't just have to rely on one suplex, one specific move. He has an arsenal of them, and then he's a beast in himself. He's not that tall, but he knows how to work for his size. He can use his size, the power. So I actually I'm a huge fan of Alex Kane. Really like him a lot.
Yeah. I think they're going to be able to do a lot with him going forward. I don't know if he's in that national openweight ladder match, but I think if a face wins that, Kane would be a really good person to be the first challenger, the first feud for that face champion. But let's talk about this Los Sparks promo in the streets of Mexico, where they're beating up on a guy with shitty candy, and I forget what mask the guy was wearing. I think it was they were attacking him partially because of the mask, but also because of the shitty candy. And they were talking about how the candy that the American candy is bad, and that Mexican candy is a lot better. And it just reminded me of what Ness probably put his kids through after Halloween, where he took all of their candy.
Man, you don't want this shitty American candy. Throw this luchador mask on. We're going to Mexico, you little bastard.
Absolutely. And then we have, look, I'm just happy that Los Sparks are doing something.
Yeah.
They have only held the MLW Tag Team Championship longer than Hammerstone and Fatu held their respective championships combined, and they've done jack shit with it. So I'm at least happy that they're beating up somebody. They're doing something to somebody, even if it's some poor guy in Mexico just trying to get some candy. But speaking of a guy beating the shit out of people, we've got Mads Krueger.
This guy.
Beating the dog shit out of Dr. Drax. Dr. Dax with Holodead. And then Bud Heavy, because Bud Heavy decided to run down to the ring to do something. Like, what the fuck is wrong? It was because last week, all the Philly crowd was chanting for him when he was doing that interview with Alicia, too. So they were like, you know what? We can't screw over Lee Moriarty because AEW signed Bobby Fish, basically. Bud Heavy, you're going to go out there and get your ass handed to him. And he does, and Mads Krueger then gets called into Cesar Duran's office, where Cesar is basically kind of saying, "Hey, you need to be smart about who you align yourself with." And Mads Krueger is trying to talk through his mask, and that's just weird. But he's saying, like, what the fuck is wrong with who I align myself with? And he's basically saying, "Hey, Contra Unit's on the downfall, but Cesar Duran is always at the top. So maybe you should shift your allegiances." And we're starting to see a little bit of fractures in the cohesiveness of Contra Unit. Mads Krueger is starting to chafe under the leadership of Joseph Samael and probably saying to himself, why should I be number 2 if Fatu can't get the job done? And it's interesting to me that Fatu and Hammerstone haven't had a rematch for the title. They're going straight to War Chamber, but we're going to see how all of that shakes out. I have a feeling that the good guy team is winning, and it's going to be the kind of demise of Contra Unit as a focal point of MLW. But one of the focal points of MLW is the women's featherweight division. One of the focal points of the women's featherweight division is Ness's favorite, Willow Nightingale. And here she is in a backstage promo where they're asking her about how she feels after being attacked by Holodead last week. She says, not cool. Not cool, bro. Like, I thought we were going to go out there, have a great match. We were going to have some fun, do a little wrestling for the people. But then you had to go and attack me like an asshole. And I'm just there on commentary. I thought you guys were going to have a great match. I'm just talking to people. Just trying to be Willow Nightingale. And you want to try to attack me. So then
That's a great impression, by the way. That was kind of like spot on how she is. Yeah.
She calls Cesar Duran immediately, which kind of feels like it's something Willow Nightingale would do, and asks for a match, tries to get a match, and we're like, okay, cool. Like we're gonna get our real first kind of feud in our new women's division. What do you think about Holodead versus Willow Nightingale as a feud potentially down the road for some kind of women's featherweight championship?
That's actually pretty decent. Well, one, it got Willow in it, so I'm all for it. I can actually don't have to be left out from seeing her from Ring of Honor.
Hey, there we go.
It works out for the best. But they don't really have a top heel, I should say, for the women so far in that division. And Holiday can definitely be, well, she's already showed it at this point because the hurt that she put on Willow is pretty fucking bad. Like, she was bleeding and shit. So I was like, oh damn, like that this is real. Like, okay, we got a little color here. You don't really see that much with the women's wrestling. So I think that's definitely a storyline they can play up on. And if they are going to introduce a MLW Women's Featherweight Championship, hey, I'm all for that. Definitely, specifically surrounding this feud.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Especially she was wearing the glasses, and she was like, "You scratched my cornea." dude, like, what are you doing? But finally, in our main event, we have TJP taking on Alex Shelley, and this match was really, really good. And we say that, I say that, having already had Fish versus Moriarty earlier in the night, and this was a great back and forth of technical wrestling. Alex Shelley is somebody who is such a well-known name for his time on the Independents, for his time in Ring of Honor, for his time as a Motor City Machine Gun. And seeing him now kind of spreading his wings a little bit more and doing some things outside of the Motor City Machine Guns is always cool. When he does it, when Saban does it, it's nice because you always know that they can come back together as a team. But we kind of want to see sometimes what they can do as singles wrestlers. And Shelley is a phenomenal technical wrestler, but TJP, I mean, as much as people think like the guy is an asshole in real life, because he kind of is, he's just a really damn good wrestler. Like, he really is good at what he does. And this was a really great match. I think I understand why this was the main event over Fish versus Moriarty, because this just had a little bit of something more to it than Fish versus Moriarty. And you kind of felt as though Fish and Moriarty was a level of respect, whereas TJP is always going to be an asshole, so there's always some level of heat behind the match, and it just gives it that little extra flavor. What'd you think about this one?
Yeah, I definitely got to agree. This definitely came off as something that can to push a story behind. Yeah. Not taking anything away from Fish and Moriarty. It was just a match, and I don't mean to say that in a negative way, but this was that was a match, a great match at that. But this definitely carries over, or can carry over, to more than just these guys meeting in the Opera Cup and it not stopping there. The fact that TJP didn't get a clean win, that leads to it. Also to Alex Shelley, because that surprised the fuck out of me. I'm not even gonna lie.
I thought Shelley was
Alex, exactly. I'm like, oh shit, Alex Shelley is gonna be in the Opera Cup. He's gonna win. He's going over for sure. And it didn't happen. But now I'm invested because I'm like, well, shit. I thought Alex Shelley was gonna win. He doesn't. He knows he got screwed, and he wants something to be done about it. So he needs to get a win back. Needs to get some comeuppance on TJP. Will he get it back? Can this happen? TJP's response is "fuck you." So it's just like it's like, oh man, like there's a story here that we can build off of. On top of the great match that you had, there's something else that can go further versus Lee Moriarty and Bobby Fish. That was just a good match, and it ended right there. But yeah, I gotta agree. A great main event. Very technical. Against the character work from TJP, he's always going to. Again, I have to agree. As much as, to my knowledge, the dude's an asshole, not that likable outside of the ring. He's just a great in-ring performer, and you can't hate on that. I can't take nothing away from him. Saying he knows how to play. He knows how to play that. I guess this art imitates life. He's really like that in real life, so he knows how to bring that character in the ring. So this is a great match. I want to see where it goes from here, because it's like, don't tease me. Don't tease me, guys. Please don't tease me, because Alex Shelley, again, I thought he was going to win. It didn't go that way. All right, that's fine. But he's like, no, they screwed me over. You screwed me, TJP. We're like, fight me again. And TJP is like, you're not worth it. Like, I did what I had to do. I just had to win this match. Like, I'm not obligated to fight you. Yeah. Like, we're not going to do this shit on your time. We'll do it on my time. And that's if I even want to do it. So
that's one of the things that's nice about MLW's presentation, is that it is a little bit more prize fightery. It is a little bit more of a realist kind of feel to it, where Cesar Duran is making matches, but he's also having to take into consideration the fact of some kind of even if it's loose, a rankings kind of system. and determining who is going to face who. So even if Shelly wants to go after TJP, he kind of can't, because one, TJP is kind of segmented away in this tournament, and two, TJP can look at him and be like, well, I beat you. Like, I don't need to give you another match. I need to look at bigger and better things. And Cesar Duran has to say, well, he should be looking at bigger and better things because he already got past you. So that's something that's nice. You have to earn your way through. And earning your way through is something that these women in this featherweight division have to do. And that leads us to our first match of this week's episode of MLW Fusion, where we have the Sea Stars taking on Willow Nightingale and Zoe Sky in a tag team match. I'm not going to lie, this confused the shit out of me, because I was like, Willow, you called last week, you called Cesar Duran for a match, and the match you wanted was teaming with Zoe Sky versus the Sea Stars. You had someone tear your cornea, and you were calling him for a match. We all thought it would be Holiday, but no, it is here. You are teaming with Zoe Sky, the Sea Stars. This match is a very quick match. It's under 5 minutes long, but really what the match is about is finding another way for Holiday to attack Willow Nightingale. The match itself, fine. We kind of anticipate where this is going. The Sea Stars should pick up a win, but we're kind of wondering why Willow's out there. Now, it makes sense. It makes a little bit more sense, because Holiday does attack Willow Nightingale, kind of dragging her under the ring. We don't know where she's going. Ness was very concerned, I'm assuming. He was in the crowd. He was like, does she need help? I will jump this barricade. Holiday doesn't scare me that much. But what'd you think about this one?
Yeah, the match was all right. Nothing too crazy. I was just way more focused on the well-being of Willow. I'm not even gonna lie, because it just seemed, I'm like, all right, what the hell happened to her? Where'd she go? And I never even seen Holiday come out whatsoever. I don't know if she came through the crowd, if she was already under the ring. I've never seen her make her way out to the ringside. So then, and I'm like, yo, where the hell is Willow at? And then we finally see what's going on. I'm like, oh shit, when the hell did Holiday get out here? But aside from that, it's just they're building this up to be something. You know, I don't get, maybe I guess because of the attack the week prior, she wasn't at 100%. So she's like, oh, you know what? Let me tag with Zoe. You know, try to get back in the swing of things. I'm not 100%. So I want to compete, but I'm not all the way there and all the way ready to compete on my own. So I guess that could be the reasoning for it. But now she's really not at 100%, because this attack on her from Holiday was a lot more vicious than the first one. Like this is the one where she was definitely bleeding, and it just looked bad. She had to get carried out, had to be helped out. And it just looked bad. Makes for a great story, but it looked bad for her. So yeah, I don't know where they go from this. Maybe a regular singles match. I don't know. I think that this needs to be upped a little bit, because you know, you keep attacking me, and now this time you're drawing blood. Yeah, I gotta draw blood from you as well. So what
if Cesar Duran gives the Renegades, gives the Believers a first blood match for the women?
Between the women, I know that's not a lot of thing that people want to see, just in wrestling specifically. Not even talking about the women, you know, that'll be a whole nother fucking conversation. But me personally, that's something I wouldn't mind seeing. Like, I don't look at them like, oh yeah, this is a woman, they shouldn't do that. Like, no, you are a professional wrestler. You go out there and do to some restraints. Not everybody's in, you know, like the hardcore death match. Definitely not death match, but you know, to hardcore wrestling, if they're okay with it, then I'm okay with it. You know, if they can, and they're performers, they're professional. That's the whole point. Professional wrestlers. They're not going to go out there and try to like fucking kill their opponents unless you're New Jack or somebody like that. But they're going to work with each other to give you a show. You know, accidents happening, yeah, but 90% of the time they're going out there trying to work to the safest and best of their ability. So that's something I would love to see. You know, it's different, especially with their having this new lane of focusing on women's wrestling in MLW, because that hasn't really been done before for them. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to see.
But speaking of what Cesar Duran might be giving us, and how he has to figure out who is going to face who and the prize fighting aspect of it. Well, the way the show actually starts is with Cesar Duran in the ring. He is going to cut a promo about how he says, you know, what do you guys want to see? Case in point. And I guess what 5150 thought we wanted to see them, because LAX 5150 comes out here. There's a lot of fucks being thrown around.
I'm live. They're live, and that shit caught me off guard. I was like, oh shit. Okay. Like, there's kids in the crowd. Like, I don't give a fuck about there being kids in the crowd. They're not my kids, so I don't care. But yeah, I'm like, the energy through the roof.
And Conan is, you know, saying, like, what do I got to do to get a moment of your fucking time? And Cesar Duran is like, what the fuck do you want? And he's like, well, fuck you, motherfucker. You know what I want. And he's like, he's asking him, he's like, what are you high off of? And Conan's like, I'm high off weed, man. I'm high off weed.
Everybody pop. Yes, fucking weed. We're all high.
And he's saying that 5150 want a tag team match. They want to face Los Parks. Of course, that means Los Parks are going to come to the ring, and I appreciate that 5150 went to them, because LA Park would not have been able to actually make it to the ring because of how slow he moves. But they get out there. There's a little bit of a brawl. By a little bit of a brawl, I mean it's a pretty good brawl. Ref's got to come out to separate them. I think we know where this is going. I think we're going to be getting some kind of tag team title match, maybe at War Chamber as part of the undercard before the main event. But Cesar Duran, he's like, man, you know, like this is ridiculous. I'm trying to come out here. Conan's coming out here screaming about how he's fucking pissed off and smoking all the time. And this can't get any worse. It can get worse because Tom Lawler comes out, and Tom Lawler is irate because he believes he's being mistreated, even though a couple weeks ago Cesar Duran was pointing out to himself, at least, that he has given Tom Lawler multiple opportunities and multiple title matches, and Lawler has just completely failed each and every time. So Lawler is saying, you know, I want an opportunity. I want a title opportunity, a prize fight. And Cesar Duran says, well, do I have a prize fight for you? And Lawler's like, all right. You know, give me Hammerstone. Give me Hammerstone again. And all of a sudden it's like, no. You're going to face off against the Caribbean heavyweight champion, King Muertes. And if that wasn't enough, it's going to be a casket match. And you can just see Kevin Koo's, like, balls just, like, kind of, like, shrivel up and go back inside of him. He is fearful for Tom Lawler, which is hilarious when you think about it. So we now know our main event. It's going to be Lawler versus Muertes, casket match. Caribbean strap is on the line. We have our C-Stars tag team match against Willow Nightingale and Zoe Sky. And after this, we find out that Alex Cade and King Mo's strategy has completely backfired, because Alicia Atout announces that back in Indianapolis, Calvin Tankman is recovering, but he's not just recovering, he's training, because he is not leaving the Opera Cup, even though he got attacked. If anything, it just made Heavyweight Hustle that much more angry, and I can only extend my condolences for whoever he's facing. I don't remember off the top of my head who he's facing next in the Opera Cup, but it's not going to be good for them. Meanwhile, Alex Cade is like, well, fuck, where does that leave me? Well, it leaves you facing off in kind of like a prize fight challenge against none other than Warhorse, which is probably not where he expected his night to go, not where he expected the trajectory for him to go. But it is it's not a bad match. It's really just a great showcase for Warhorse, not Warhorse, for Alex Cade. he's getting the opportunity to show off what he can do. And like we've said before, he is a suplex assassin. He is able to hit incredible suplexes on Warhorse throughout the course of this match. And it was actually really cool to watch. And it's a short match, very short match. And afterwards, Kane and King Mo are talking to Alicia and I think what's kind of interesting is that they're playing up that America's Top Team relation, and then all of a sudden it just gets dropped. They're like, we're not associated with America's Top Team. Maybe it's because ATT is currently doing work with AEW. I don't know, but they've dropped that association and they're kind of out for themselves. And Kane is saying, "Hey, somehow, some way, I'm bringing that Opera Cup. I'm gonna have that Opera Cup." So I'm interested to see how they do this. It's slowly becoming one of the more interesting and intriguing storylines because now it kind of makes you feel that every Calvin Tankman match that happens between now and the end of the Opera Cup, Alex Kane is going to somehow be involved. Somehow, some way, he's going to try to interfere in the match. Ness, what do you think about this storyline and what do you think about this match?
Yeah, the match was all right. Again, it was a great showing for for Alex Kane. Warhorse pretty cool. He can definitely sell. He was definitely taking some crazy bumps for Alex Kane. I actually enjoyed it because, again, you guys get suplexed a number of times. The crowd's chanting, how many times he gets suplexed. You got King Mo over there throwing up the numbers of how many times he's getting suplexed. But, yeah, I like the story between Alex Kane and Calvin Tankman. You guys know I'm a Tankman mark. So anything that involves him, I'm all the way there for. And then there's another guy on the rise with Alex Kane. It's going to be something when they finally come to blows in an official match. So I can't wait for it, man. I think it's great. Both these guys are young guys coming up on the rise. And I like the fact that MLW is giving them the platform to shine because it's always great to have your established guys like your TJPs, your Davey Richards, guys like that. But what's going to keep wrestling alive and keep going is the younger crop of talent in a Calvin Tankman and an Alex Kane. So sure. I like the fact that they're building around them, both guys around them, and where they're at in their careers.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out because these are, I'm just saying, this is Alex Kane could be somebody who is a national openweight challenger, could be a national openweight champion.
Yeah.
Tankman also easily could be a world champion. And this is a feud between the two of them that, if done properly, can be something they have in the future. They keep revisiting it in the future. Yeah. But a storyline that is coming to an end is Team Filthy. Because Kevin Koo is saying, what the fuck is wrong with you? He is going to murder you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get murdered. I think it's actually kind of funny that in the top right-hand corner you can see that it says Mill and not King Martes. they're still doing the
with the arrow point.
Yeah, they're still doing the Lucha Underground name. I like the big no with the arrow down to Casket. That's misspelled. I really thought Kevin Koo was going to ask him why he was drawing a dick on the board at first. Yeah. It does, and he was like, "No, it's a chainsaw. We're trying to keep me out of the fucking casket." And Kevin Koo says, "Sorry, bro, I'm out of here. Like we're done.
Can't blame him. Shit.
Again, Lawler has failed in almost every single feud that he has had, and has been on a crazy ass losing streak. After this, we have a brief message from Contra, where Joseph Samael is saying, "Hey, we're coming for you at War Chamber." Just great promo for what's going to happen at War Chamber. After that, we have a fun moment where we have Holiday trying to get some of his bandages off so he can talk to Alicia. The week prior, she smacked him because she couldn't understand what he was saying, and she thought that he was, I guess, being a little forward. But this week, he's able to take some of the bandages off. He tells her that he's going to have more marketing because he has a Japanese candy that he's going to bring out. And when he goes to show her the Japanese candy, we find out that Tajiri is eating all of it. For a second there, I thought Tajiri was going to spray the green mist on him. I thought that's where that was going. And I was like, this is going to be hilarious. But it still worked. I think that some of the things that MLW does well and it does great is some of just the over-the-top hilarious comedy that they have sometimes. And this is one of them. Like, you're just not expecting Tajiri to be eating the Japanese candy, even though after the door opens and you see it's Tajiri, you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense. He's Japanese. He would love Japanese candy, and so he's eating the Japanese candy. And that look, I'm just happy that this week Holiday didn't get smacked by Alicia. That's really what I'm here for. But finally, in our main event, we have Lawler tried his best.
Tried his damnness.
Tried his best by himself, which is something you don't hear often associated with Lawler, but tried his best by himself to survive King Muertes. But it's not really King Muertes by himself, because returning to our televisions or computers or however you watch this was none other than Carly Perez, who was with Muertes back in Lucha Underground. Now, I only watched the first season or so of Lucha Underground, so I don't know what happened in some of the later stuff. I think there was something that involved her dying or something like that, and some crazy shit that happened. But all I want to know is this what was connected to the box? Is the sacrifice, is Tom Lawler the sacrifice that was needed to activate whatever is in the box? I need to know this because this is now actually really fucking interesting to me. Yeah. And I got to say, when it comes to creating television that I want to keep watching, this is doing a great job. And it just so happens that it doesn't get hurt by the fact that there's some really great action surrounding it. This match was good. This match was surprisingly good. I'm not the biggest King Muertes fan, just because he doesn't give off the look to me of somebody who should be as deadly as he is portrayed. Like, I don't know. There's something about it that to me, I'm just like, okay, like it's an overweight dude wearing a mask. Like, that's really, like, I guess if him
and Tom Lawler are damn near the same size. They're like damn near the same height, kind of. Yeah, Tom Lawler's not that tall.
If it was more of like a Brock Lesnar looking guy wearing a mask, I'm like, yes, that is somebody who I believe has 1,000 deaths inside of him, and you are death number 1, you are death number 2, like that. I believe that. This just looks like LA Park changed clothes, kind of. And I'm like, why am I supposed to believe this guy is that credible of a threat? So Carly Perez being added and adding more of that supernatural aspect to it really does a lot for me. But the match was surprisingly good for what I was expecting. I like the fact that the casket broke. The door broke. And they had to figure out how exactly they're going to do this. Refs are like, we'll help you, even though we're not supposed to help you. We'll hold the casket open. But Tom Lawler does get rolled into it. The casket does shut. I thought it was hilarious on commentary at one point. One of the commentators, I think it was the face commentator, is like, will he be put into this hermetically sealed casket? I'm like, that's not, like, it's a fucking casket. It's not hermetically sealed. Like, hermetically sealed means you're removing the ability of any oxygen or anything to get inside or out. It's a casket. Like,
and the fucking lid broke. So,
lid broke. So what is? But anyway, but one thing I do want to say is a part of me felt as though this was, no pun intended, the casket closing on Tom Lawler's time in MLW, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that. And what did you think about this match and the return of Carly Perez?
Oh yeah, I was all the way there for the return of Carla Perez. Cause like when she revealed, cause I'm like, who's this bitch walking out here? And then she like took the hood off. I'm like, oh shit, it's Katrina. Everybody's in the crowd. I'm like, oh shit, it's the whole Lucha Underground thing going. So it dates back to that. So that's good. They were together in Lucha Underground. So I like the fact that they are pretty much, as much as they can, trying to bring back that aspect in the aesthetics that were happening in Lucha Underground. All as much as they can legally with the legalities and things like that, they're trying to bring them back. So I think that was a nice touch. The match, again, it was all right. I think it was kind of a little tad bit drawn out.
Yeah.
But I guess after they broke the lid on the casket, they had to try to call like something on the fly, like shit, we gotta figure out how we're gonna do this. But it is funny because Tom Lawler does get put in the casket and the lid closed on him. Then we recently hear that his time in MLW is up. I don't know if was he released or it wasn't released. His contract is just up. Yeah, his contract was just up. So this was a great way to write him off, honestly. If that's what they're doing, who knows if the next week or the following or week after, he comes back and Kevin Kuz like, oh, what happened to you? Or maybe now Kevin Kuz is running around like looking for Tom and he's no longer there like that, and that could be something they can play off as well. But yeah, he had a great run in MLW. I can't say anything bad about it at all.
Opera Cup winner, World Heavyweight title winner. Yeah,
exactly. So he pretty much what he needed to do, and always featured either like upper mid card, the top of the card. So like, yeah, he's definitely one of the guys that was holding it down. But now I'm just ready to see where he goes from here. Like.
I mean, yeah, he's got that
could have possibly went to Ring of Honor. Who the fuck knows? I would have loved to see him in a pure division, but
at least still has that strong openweight championship with New Japan. So New Japan strong. Yeah. So he does have that going for him. But yeah, that would have been, imagine a pure rules match: Tom Lawler versus Gresham or Tom Lawler versus Woods. Oh man, yeah. that would have been phenomenal because. I don't know if you guys, every single time he's on the screen, I have to look at it. I don't know if you guys do or don't, but that man has earned both of those 2 cauliflower ears. Those ears are fucked up. I don't know how he hears properly. Because if you look at it, like the ear opening is so closed due to the bruising that has happened. It's incredible. So he, like, when it comes to the pure rules, the submission, the technical aspect, he can do it. His character in MLW never really needed him to do it that much, but this is a trained MMA fighter who's a former UFC fighter. So I'm looking forward to seeing where he goes from here. Who knows? He may also show up on Impact. Be able to see him. He'd be somebody who'd be interesting there. He could tear the house down with somebody like Josh Alexander. That would be a phenomenal match, phenomenal series of matches. But Ness has brought up where we have to go to next. And that is Ring of Honor, where, funnily enough, the question is violence or pure. Nah. We are having Tony Deppen facing Rhett Titus. We are having Violence Unlimited, Brody King, and Chris Dickinson taking on the foundation of Gresham and Williams. And in the main event, we are having Lethal versus Homicide. That's a match with a lot of history behind it. So let's get straight to the match that a part of me felt went on way too long for what was supposed to be happening, because this match between Deppen and Rhett Titus is good. My problem with it is that it felt like it was a pure rules match. There was so much technical wrestling and submission holds and just waiting for people to transition into things. A part of me was like, look, Tony, we talk about how it's you and your 3 violent uncles. What the fuck? Why are you playing Rhett Titus's game? Why are you doing what Rhett Titus wants you to do, which is playing a pure rules game? And Tony Deppen just let this match go on for way too long than he needed to. We end up having a little interference, a little violence gets the job done no matter what. Deppen is going to be able to pick up the win, but this match went 12 minutes and 23 seconds long, and it could have been an 8-minute match and still gotten the job done. But Ness, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, it was a decent match. I gotta agree. I think it did go a little bit too long. They could have, like Tony Deppen is 3 violent uncles, because he doesn't give off that vibe. We talk about it all, like literally every week that he's on to our TV. We are gonna say that Tony Deppen doesn't really come off like he fits with Violence Unlimited, but. He just personality wise, in ring he can go. So yeah. That's nothing to ever doubt. It just seemed like this match he wasn't Tony Deppen. He was definitely playing up to Rhett Titus's game, and for the most part, Rhett was controlling the match for the most part. And then the interference happened, and then obviously that's going to be a way to pick up the win for. That's strike one. That's one for team violence. So, and as the show went on, I'm actually surprised how things were going for team violence. It's kind of fucking weird. Kind of weird, this episode.
So we have Rhett Titus being like, "What the fuck? Where was my backup? Like, why are we letting
that's another thing. Like, nobody came out, and I'm just like, well, shit. Okay, well,
and it's gonna get even more confusing.
Even more.
we have a promo. We have a promo from Tony Deppen talking about his win, which actually the promo worked. Well, the promo got the job done. It did everything it was supposed to do until the very last moment, the sign off, when you can see Deppen's eyes like start to look around, like, are we done? Like, should I look at this camera? Should I look at what over there? And then he's just like, all right, let me do the little tongue thing again and like look like I'm an idiot all over again. And it's just like, what are you doing? You had a great, you got the job done, because he was like, I don't care about anything except Violence Unlimited. I don't care about anyone except for Violence Unlimited, and violence will work. And it's like, you know what? He has a point, because they used the chair and it worked. They don't care about rules. They don't care about necessarily following the rules. They care about getting the job done. And it's just a slight twist on how LFI looks at things, which is just more, no, we're just going to straight out cheat. Like, we're not going to try first and then cheat. We're just going to basically start by cheating and see where it takes us. If we got to choke somebody, we got to choke somebody. So anyway, Rhett Titus is like, wait, where the fuck are my guys? Like, how did nobody have my back? And lo and behold, that's because Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham, I guess they couldn't find their foundation flag. So they were like looking for their foundation flags. And that's why they weren't able to come out to be behind Rhett Titus. But randomly, Jay Lethal is there to walk out with Gresham and Tracy Williams, who are taking on Brody King and Dickinson in this second match. And a second match, what a second match it was. This was just under 13 minutes long, but this was, to me, much better than Deppen versus Rhett Titus, because they knew what they needed to do to win in this match, and they tried their damnedest to make it work, which was keep Brody King out of the fucking ring. Do your best to keep him out of the ring, and we are going to try to beat the shit out of Dickinson. And to commentary's point, Dickinson is one of the most resilient and the most pain endurance guys that they have in Ring of Honor. And the Dickinson and Brody King strategy was, we are going to try to take Jonathan Gresham and beat the living shit out of this man, because in a pure rules match, he has an advantage. But in a regular match, we have the advantage, and we are going to push that pace. We are going to get Homicide involved. We are going to do what it takes to win this match. And lo and behold, they do. They don't even try to tease us with one team has one win, one team has one win. The main event is what's going to matter. It's like, no. Violence is winning. Violence is winning the shit out of this. And it's going to reinforce to me that there are some problems within the foundation. Rhett Titus has a legitimate gripe. He's like, where the fuck was everybody? Like, how come nobody has my back? And now the people who didn't have his back lost anyway because Homicide gets involved yet again. And so Jay Lethal is getting a ring. They're getting into the, they're getting back and forth with these issues, and they're going to have to quickly separate them because we have our main event. But right before we talk about that, I want to see, Ness, what were your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, this match was definitely better in the opener. I have to agree. I like the fact that they kind of switched up the tagging. We don't really see a combination of Tracy Williams and Jonathan Gresham tagging together. It's usually Rhett Titus and Tracy Williams with Jonathan Gresham being the singles guy, or if Gresham isn't a tag match, he's tagging with Lethal. Right. So it was nice to see. And on the opposite end, you don't usually see Brody King and Chris Dickinson. It's usually Dickinson and Homicide, or Brody King and Deppin, or that type of combination. So it was nice to see these stablemates who we don't usually see on screen together in the tag team matches have to coexist. And although they're all in, their respective groups and things like that, it's still different to see, again, because these guys don't tag with each other on a regular. But it was a nice match, back and forth. Their game plans sort of worked for both teams, for both sides of the spectrum, because Violence Unlimited's idea was to, like you said, beat down Jonathan Gresham because they seen him as more of a threat. On the opposite end, Gresham and Williams, they were trying to beat down both of these guys, more so Brody King because he's more of a bigger threat than they saw in Chris Dickinson. But once again, Homicide plays another part. I don't know what the fuck Lethal was out there doing. So now, instead of, like you said, going to 1-1, going into the main event, it's just fucking two out of three. It's 2. It's over. Like, what's the point here?
And that's probably why this main event match went as short as it did.
Yeah, exactly.
We have Jay Lethal taking on Homicide in our main event, and this match is actually pretty quick. Yeah. But what's probably more important than the match is how the match ends.
Yeah.
We have I think it was Dickinson, right? Yeah, Dickinson running out to help. No, it was Tracy. Somebody ran. Who ran out there to help Lethal? I forget now. Or help or to interfere. I think it might have been Dickinson. But somebody runs out there to help to interfere in the match, only to get caught by something that happens in the very beginning of the match, of the show, that we had no idea was going to have any kind of payoff.
Which was fucking weird because we don't know what the hell he was talking about.
So the beginning of the show involves Vincent standing in a bathroom. He's got his white clothes on, whatever. He's got the crown, and he's asking each individual member of the Righteous if they think he will like his outfit. And everybody says yes. We have no idea who the he is. Obviously, the first thought is maybe Taven, or more importantly, Bandito, because we know that Vincent has that world title match in his back pocket, or I guess on his head. The end of the show is this Jay Lethal versus Homicide match. And when Dickinson comes down, I'm just going to assume it was Dickinson, comes down with the chair to interfere and help Homicide, Dutch runs out of nowhere and basically blindsides Dickinson. They try to, I guess, sort of recreate the Keith Lee and Adam Cole thing. But he knocks him out, and we see the Righteous coming out onto the stage. Lethal hits lethal injection. 1, 2, 3. That's all she wrote. Homicide's done. And he's celebrating with his back and the back of his head to the stage. He can't see what's behind him. And he finally does, and he realizes that the righteous are there and they are applauding. And he doesn't know, to commentary's point, whether they got involved, whether anything happened. He doesn't know anything like that. He just knows that they're there. Now, this took one of the most intriguing turns I've ever seen, because I didn't expect this whatsoever. You would think that Vincent would be going after Bandito. That's what makes sense. But of course, this dude's fucking crazy. But then I thought about it. And I said, Vincent, like, what is the purpose of the righteous? Yeah, it's to maybe win the title and, do this, that, and the other thing. But Vincent is kind of the character where it doesn't matter if he wins. It doesn't matter if he loses. It matters what's the story. And the story here is that first he destroyed his former best friend. He won that feud. But he's trying to take over everything. And to me, that means you got to take out the franchise. You got to go after Jay Lethal. And honestly, that moment when they're on the stage and applauding, and it took this twist and it took this turn, that's when I got upset that Ring of Honor was shutting down. Up until this point, I was just like, you know what? It's business, but they're also doing right by their people. Let's see how they come back. Let's see how they do this, that, and the other thing. But when that moment happened, I was like, wait a minute. They were planning on telling a long-term story with Vincent. First, he takes down Taven. Now he's going to go after Lethal. And eventually, he's going to go after that world champion so that he can control all of Ring of Honor. And we're not going to get that. Or if we are going to get that, it's going to be hot-shotted. It's going to have to be hot-shotted. I don't know how else they're going to do it. Because it's the first week of November. Final Battle is about a month from now. And then after that, we don't have shows. It's going to be the last show of the year and the last show of Ring of Honor. So that was the moment where I was like, "Fuck, this actually pisses me off now that Sinclair is doing all of this." But I want to get your thoughts on, I guess, the match, whatever that match really was, but more on where you think this Vincent and now Jay Lethal story is going to go, considering we saw actually Matt Taven and Mike Bennett popped up on the NWA show By Any Means Necessary. They're splitting it into 2 episodes of Power, but they popped up there. We were seeing Matt Taven kind of be lost and lifeless. So Vincent won that. Now Vincent is turning to Jay Lethal. What are your thoughts on all this?
Oh man, it's weird. The match itself, it is what it was. It wasn't anything spectacular, and to say the least, because it was not even the fact that it was just so short, but it just really wasn't anything. I like that the fact that while Homicide's coming out, Lethal's like, "Fuck that, I'm taking the fight to you." So like after all the shit you've been doing all night, like now I have to kick your ass. But shit is, you know what else is weird? We finally heard fucking Dutch speak words.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm like, the fuck you talk? So I'm like, he's just like forcing. Oh yeah, he's gonna love it. I'm like, all right, okay. Dutch, you just went from just standing there growling and fucking looking menacing, and like you all got your hair slicked back and nice white tux on and shit.
He turned into he turned into the dude from Men's Warehouse. He's gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it.
Oh shit. Yeah, but oh fuck, I'm trying not to laugh. Cause that's exactly how he was too. Nah, but I like your take on that, because again, with fuck man, because now I'm depressed. Because I was thinking about the story, but then I'm like, shit, like it's not gonna happen. All right, I'm gonna try to piece this together. So I like the fact that your take on Vincent going after Lethal, because Lethal embodies Ring of Honor. Lethal is the franchise. Like, he is Ring of Honor. So to be the man, you have to beat the man in that aspect. Again, Vincent doesn't come off a guy that, oh, I need to be Ring of Honor world champion because that's going to show I'm the best wrestler. Like, no, he knows with the title comes the power. If I have the top title in this promotion, I control everything. I have all the power.
Yeah.
Again, Lethal, he's always going to be at the top of the card, always going to have a say in being at a title shot, or being around the Ring of Honor World Championship. So if that's what his focus was on, that could have made for a great storyline going further, because it would have been potentially, we already see everything going on within the foundation without Vincent being involved. Like, there's already some cracks in their armor and things like that. Add Vincent to that would have played a lot of mind games with those guys, and that could have been an amazing story. He would have been in the head of Lethal, and the head of Gresham, and the head of Williams, and the head of Red Titus. They all already could have. Even before this match happening, weeks upon weeks, we've talked about what's going back and forth between these guys. With Gresham, him possibly feeling like he was above the rest of the foundation, being the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. Lethal taking a lot of losses leading up to this match in itself. So, like, he finally gets a big win, only for to him to find out that it wasn't clean at the end of the day. Just a lot of stuff going on within this group, and now you add somebody like Vincent that likes to be cerebral and does things strictly to fuck with your brain.
And it's like
it could have been.
It's like we can see he was going to go after Red Titus.
I mean, yeah, it could have been somebody, one of these guys.
But no, because Red Titus didn't have the backup.
Yeah, because he didn't. Those guys didn't come out to help him. So, but also on another side that I really didn't think about till now was the fact that they attacked Homicide. So, Violence Unlimited, they're not going to take that shit, and stride and just be like, oh, it happened, whatever. They're focused on Lethal. No, they're gonna try to, like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? You just cost our guy this match. So the only thing that sucks about it is, well, I don't know, Vita Von Star probably can take Tony Deppen, but that's the only aspect of it that kind of like, fuck. I wish that the Righteous had another guy that could have been, 4-on-4 of, Vincent, Dutch, and Bateman, and someone else versus, Violence Unlimited as a whole. So I just want to see where it goes from there. If Violence Unlimited even acknowledge this happening, more than likely they will. I would like to think they will, because they're not the inept group to be like, oh, well, they did that, we just got to move forward. No, they're Violence Unlimited. They want to get their revenge, and that was a big thing too, because it was Violence Unlimited Foundation. They've been clashing heads for months. So now the fact that, and whoever else with LFI, Shane Taylor Promotions, just everybody, now the Righteous seem to be throwing till Final Battle. They were throwing their hat in our faction wars that we were having, and who knows what could have came of this going forward. It is kind of weird that they seem to be they targeted Violence Unlimited, but they probably are targeting Lethal because of who he is. But again, Violence Unlimited is just going to be like, oh, it happened and whatever, and shrug it off. They're going to want to go after Vincent and the Righteous.
But I mean, look at this transition. It's crazy, because now, despite the fact that it still sort of doesn't work, it makes sense why Violence Unlimited won 2-0 going into the main event. And it just makes so much sense. We are going to try to destroy the purity of wrestling, the purity of Ring of Honor. Because Violence Unlimited, in their feud with the Foundation, they've never said that purity is bad. Like purity in the sense of being a good person, or purity in the sense of following rules. They never said that was bad. They just said that we prefer to be more violent.
No.
LFI never was saying that. LFI was never saying, we don't think you should be a good person. They were just like, cheating works
for us. Yeah,
so we're gonna do it. It's never been like a moral kind of existential battle of good versus evil, but that's what the foundation, in a sense, sort of represents good, and that's what the righteous represents, evil. So the way that this transitioned, and then I was just like, oh, so you're telling me with a month before Final Battle and nothing happening after it until Super Card of Honor in April, where your whole paradigm is going to change because of the business decisions. You want me to now suddenly buy into this feud?
They're evil. They're evil, man.
The crazy thing is, I'm going to do it. I'm still going to do it because I'm going to be like, I'm just here to see these crazy, deranged Vincent promos. I want to see Bateman continually lose to somebody because that's what's going to happen. We already know. Like he's the guy there to take the pins. We know that's going to happen. Yeah. I want to see Dutch kill Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus because you know that's what's going to happen. They're probably going to have at one point a 2-on-1 handicap match. Dutch is going to murder some people. Vito Monstar dancing around like looking like an insane person. That's going to be kind of cool too, sort of.
Tony Deppen looking around with his fucking tongue looking like a crazy person. That's definitely going to happen.
And you know what? That would actually be interesting if Rhett Titus is the person that they try to take from the foundation and Deppen is the person they try to take from Violence Unlimited. That would actually be really cool because Deppen doesn't fit. But he looks deranged enough that he could fit inside of the Rangers doing evil shit. So it's really annoying how invested they got me into this storyline in the span of about 30 to 45 seconds. But, oh, man, if you guys are invested in Fusion of Honor, and I'm assuming that you are because you've made it to the end of this recap of the last 2 weeks, remember to hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe if you have not already, and consider joining our Patreon. It's only $3 a month, but you get access to so much more content than we are able to provide on YouTube. We do watch-alongs for other shows, for other companies, for other sports. There was a watch-along for boxing for Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. So we do a lot on the Patreon. Consider joining it if you have not already. But if you are not doing that, do hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe, and always remember to follow us on our social medias. And Ness, tell the people where they can find you.
You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at skinny__Kravitz, right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. One half of Fusion of Honor, my man is StatKing, the man of 1,004 numbers, where we review MLW Fusion and Ring of Honor for the time being.
Yo, why are they doing this to you? First was NXT 2.0.
I gotta say, oh my god, man.
That's like life was better when I was a Roundtable Rebel.
Yeah, it was because I used to like NXT. Now it's just like a chore to watch that shit every week. The shows that I do actually like, Ring of Honor, you guys are, I had Ring of Honor, Impact, MLW. Don't fuck this up. MLW, Impact, please don't fuck this up. And speaking of Impact, you can catch me every Thursday, Blunt Impact with my man Chris G. We go live 10:30 reviewing Impact Wrestling. I was out this week because I fell asleep during the show. I was fucking tired. But yeah, go check that episode out. Chris G held it down. And as always, every Tuesday, 10:30. Cause man, I really at this point, I'm really only watching this shit because I'm here to support my brothers and the rest of the channel. Yeah, you're here to support the channel, but we know that the feud Chris and Romeo is going to be hilariously entertaining. Yes, that is true. That's true. So I guess I can still watch it to make fun of it. So every Tuesday, 10:30, myself, Chris G, Romeo Anthony Cologne, we go live reviewing NXT 2.0. We are NX3, which again, if the show sucked, we are very, very entertaining. We will keep you guys laughing. If so many people, it's crazy. So many people say we don't watch NXT, but we watch you guys. So that's greatly appreciated. We greatly appreciate that shit, because if we were just reviewing this shit and nobody liked our show or didn't even want to, if you didn't like us and you didn't like NXT, it would just suck on both ends. So thanks for all the love. You catch me on the round tables, the watch alongs, anything like that.
You guys can catch me on Dark Power covering AEW Dark, Elevation, and NWA Power. I was very pleased last night on Rampage when CM Punk made that joke to Eddie Kingston about having a match on Dark and Elevation, because I was like, at least they're getting mentioned. I like that. But that was actually hilarious. Yeah, and you guys can always catch me here on Fusion of Honor, like Ness said, covering MLW Fusion and Ring of Honor. At least Ness will always have Willow Nightingale to brighten his life up a little bit.
Man, at least MLW, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get this women's division, and I can see a lot of their Ring of Honor women going over there.
Oh yeah,
they don't pop up elsewhere, but
yeah. I would love to see Roxy continue to defend the ROH title, women's title, in the independents that she's going to. Because she's doing that a little bit. I think it'd be cool if they continue to do that with all of their titles. If they had Josh Woods be that kind of an ambassador of sorts. Bandito can be an ambassador down in Mexico while he is there, as well as around the country. Because it worked for the NWA for a certain amount of time. They were able to have Nick Aldis be the champion, go around, build the name back up so that they're able to get and build into these kind of fight deals that they now have. So maybe that's what Ring of Honor needs to do. And that's part of the reason why, there were a lot of people who kind of were like, why is Nick Aldis still the champion? Because Nick Aldis could do that. Nick Aldis was the kind of person that could go around to all these different companies and at least had the name brand value and the ability to put on good matches that would draw people in and slowly rebuild that interest in the NWA. Maybe that's what Ring of Honor needs to do. I don't know if that's with Vincent. I don't know if that's keeping the title on Bandito. I don't know if that's maybe putting the title on Brody King. I don't know if that's maybe putting the title back on Jay Lethal. But somehow, some way, they gotta build this back up, and we're gonna see how they do that, guys. That'll be something that we will be with you every single step of the way. So until next time, on behalf of myself, on behalf of the three-time baby-making champ Ness, this has been another edition of Fusion of Honor. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll catch you guys later. Peace.